planning a European getaway and looking to save money on flights, you may want to consider flying through Providence, Rhode Island. That's right, tiny Providence, where Condor Airlines will fly you from there to Europe at roughly half the cost of the larger airlines. Here with the story is WSJ middle seat columnist Scott McCartney. Hi, Scott. Great to see you.
Good to see you, Tanya.
So first off, many of us have never heard of Condor Airlines. Where did they come from?
Well, Condor is a longtime European, formerly a charter airline, once a subsidiary of Lufthansa. And when the European charter business faded, Condor morphed into a leisure long-haul carrier. So they fly to vacation spots in vacation seasons and carry a lot of Europeans, and have only recently started to expand into the United States.
And so what kinds of prices are they charging for their round-trip European flights from Providence?
So it's not just Providence. They fly to Portland, Oregon, to Minneapolis, to Las Vegas, to secondary cities by and large. Providence is an interesting example. Lufthansa flies 2 747s every day in the summer to Boston. So round trip on Condor for a trip in a couple of weeks, we just priced it yesterday at $700. Wow. Lufthansa's cheapest price, $1,700.
Wow, that's huge savings. And Scott, I know you also found that the first class savings are very big as well.
Well, business class. So you can get business class on Condor for about $1,400 round trip. Compare that to about $8,000 on Lufthansa. Now, it's not as nice as the Lufthansa business class, but it is a spacious, angled, flat bed seat. It's upgraded meals. You can sleep. You get a big entertainment screen. It's a lot of the amenities of business class at a fraction of the price.
It's interesting because that business class ticket on Condor is roughly the same price, maybe a little bit more, as a coach ticket on Lufthansa or one of those bigger airlines.
Yeah, and that's exactly the calculation a lot of U.S. travelers are making. Hey, wait a minute, for the same price I was prepared to pay for a trip to Europe. $1,600, $1,800 is pretty typical in summer. I can get business class, and it's a much better experience, even in Condor's kind of discount airline business class, much better than coach on a typical airline.
Certainly makes sense to me. Now, how did Condor end up with one of its hubs in Providence? And are there other small airlines and airports capitalizing on these cheaper flights to Europe?
Yeah, this is a really interesting trend. We're seeing the discount airlines venture into long-haul travel, and they're essentially borrowing the same strategy that Southwest Airlines started employing 30, 40 years ago of flying to secondary airports. You do that, and the big guys don't match your prices. You kind of stay under the radar. You can do what you want without kicking the hornet's nest, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so Condor's doing it. Norwegian is doing it. Air Berlin's doing it to some extent. We're seeing more and more discount long haul, and even some of the big airlines. Lufthansa's forming its own low-cost long haul division. The first flight is to Tampa, Florida from Frankfurt, another secondary city. Air Canada is doing similar things up in Canada. It's a growing trend to bring cheaper prices to what has gotten to be very expensive long-haul leisure travel.
And I guess it's a great idea if you live in or near one of these secondary cities. But if you live near a large metropolitan area, you've got to get there first, right?
Yeah, it's the typical trade-off for people in Rhode Island, for people in southern Massachusetts. You know, when Southwest first went into the Boston area, it went to Providence because it was convenient to those people, and getting to Logan Airport was a hassle. Since then, there's a second tunnel open. Logan's done a lot of improvements and is quite popular. So if you're, you know, depending on where you are in the Boston area, it may be a longer drive to get to Providence. But $700 round trip is $1,800 round trip. It may well be worth the bus fare.
I was going to say, absolutely. Scott, thank you so much for that.
Sure. Take care.